Board's meeting is Tuesday, April 8, 2025. Mr. Canty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight's meeting of the Plymouth Select Board is taking place in a hybrid format. Members of the board are joining us here in person at the Great Hall. Members of the board may be joining us virtually over the Zoom webinar platform. Members of the public may be joining us virtually or in person. Members of the public who wish to attend may do so via Zoom using the login information that is included on the agenda that is posted on the town website, or they may watch the meeting on Comcast Channel 9 or Verizon Channel 47. Members of the public are also reminded that any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of the Select Board after notifying the chair, subject to reasonable requirements of the chair so as to not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any recordings. We are aware of a recording being made by the local scene for the broadcast in the Zoom. Mr. Chair, unless there is other business before the board at this time, I would read the executive session language.
Please.
The Select Board will hold an executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Clause 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. This would be in relation to 450 Little Sandy Pond Road, commonly known as Atlantic Country Club, in relation to the value of real property. I would make a motion that we enter into executive session at this time, returning at approximately 6 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Golden. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And myself, yes. We'll be returning approximately 6 p.m. Thank you. Board. Welcome to the Select Board meeting of Tuesday, April 8, 2025. Please join the board in a pledge to the flag. The first item on the agenda is to consider question 1, the non-binding public opinion advisory question. Mr. Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to reconsider our vote last week to place this question on the ballot.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Golden, second by Mr. Canty. Discussion? Mr. Golden?
Thank you, Mr.
Then
Chairman.
Mr. Canty?
Last week, I voted in favor of putting this question on the ballot. It was my hopes that town meeting would take a pause and, as I had said originally, allow the courts to do their job and render a decision as to the constitutionality of this law. I certainly believe that it's always worthwhile hearing from the voters. However, town meeting did not take a pause. They forged forward, as is their right. The vote was overwhelming, and so I'm going to respect their vote, and I plan to vote no on placing the question on the ballot.
Mr. Canty?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was against this proposal the prior 2 times it's come before us in various forms. Procedurally, I can second a motion to reconsider, as the second can be not on the prevailing side. And I also noticed, obviously, the overwhelming rejection of the proposal by town meeting. I voiced concerns last week about placing it on the ballot in advance of town meeting and the message that that would send to town meeting members. And I think that also probably played into that vote as well. I agree that if someone does believe that this law is unconstitutional, then they should avail themselves of the appeals process. I would point out, though, that back in October of last year, a similar law in New York State was challenged in a case, Antoniuk versus James, that prohibited, it's called in New York, the Concealed Carry Improvement Act, which prohibited the carrying of guns by people with a license to carry in government buildings, among other places. That provision of the law was upheld by the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. And the Supreme Court on Monday declined to take up the matter. So the ruling of the Second Circuit stands permitting that and allowing that, despite the Second Amendment concerns of the appellants. So I don't know how this law could proceed procedurally differently, but a lot of people are presuming that it is already unconstitutional. I think that is a live issue, but I do encourage folks that think it might be a constitutional issue to avail themselves of the appellate process, but I'm certainly not going to put my name on allowing firearms within government buildings. So for those reasons, I will gladly support the motion to reconsider by voting yes, so that we do not put this item on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blitzer?
Yes, I'd just like to say it was my motion to put this on the ballot, and I agree with my colleagues that the right thing to do is to take it back. But I just want to read a short statement of why I did that. My entire intent was, with proposing this ballot question, was to hear from the residents. I'm incredibly disappointed that town meeting decided to act and not wait for feedback from the voters. But that was their choice, and I respect the decision, and I respect the process. So I respectfully will vote no.
Mr. Mahoney?
Just for clarity, I've heard we're voting in the affirmative.
If you want to
confirm-
not have it be on the ballot, you
Correct.
need to vote yes.
Okay, so I heard a no over there. Just for clarity, but everything Mr. Canty and others have said, I completely agree with. Question like this was just further split the community down the middle, and that's something we don't need.
Okay, Mr. Mahoney? Yes. Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
Yes,
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Unanimous. Question 2. Yes. Sorry, Mr. Canty.
So with question 2, we had approved inclusion of this item on the ballot back in, I think it was January 14th or thereabouts, but we didn't have the full text. The only text that we're approving, because most of the text was in the petition, but a yes vote and a no vote is what we're voting on. Specifically, the rest is maintained from exactly what was in the petition. I'll just read for the record what a yes and no say. A yes vote supports town government communicating with elected officials and state agencies concerning Holtec and the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth. A no vote supports the town government taking no action to communicate with elected officials and state agencies concerning Holtec and the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth. There's a duplicative, we should remove one of the "and" state agencies because it's otherwise duplicative. So a no vote should read, a no vote supports the town government taking no action to communicate with elected officials and state agencies concerning Holtec and the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth. So I would make a motion to approve the text as I just read it, removing one instance of "and" state agencies.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Golden. Discussion? Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Blitzer?
yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And myself, yes, unanimous. Anyone wishing to speak under public comment? Please identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, Pat McCarthy, Precinct 18 Town Meeting Member. And I just want to thank the board for their serious thoughts and work on reconsidering their vote from last week. And I appreciate all of the citizens who contacted town meeting members prior to town meeting to just make their viewpoints known. And as town meeting members, being the legislative body, we do represent the voters and the constituents and the town when we make our decisions at town meeting. And I think that the citizens learned a lot about this issue, and I think this was the correct way to proceed. And I think town meeting, with all its deliberation, and with 112 votes to not approve this article, shows that they really did their homework, and they were from all over town. It wasn't just one area or one type of constituency. It was a very varied vote in terms of my recollections over the years. So I just want to thank the board very much, and I guess I won't be pestering many of you on an issue for a while. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm David Buckman, 36 Timber Lane in Plymouth. Been in Plymouth for almost 50 years. You guys, there's 2 of you now with beards, so there's hope. It's going to grow and grow and grow, and we'll have 5 beards. I used to be somebody in this town until I retired. Now I'm nobody. But I'm here to tell you that you guys just deprived me of my coming here to voice my dissatisfaction with what could have happened. You're depriving me of using 2 of my greatest lines. One is that, about punishment. One is about the masochist and the sadist that went out on the date, and the masochist said, "Beat me," and the sadist said, "No." How much punishment do you guys want to take before you realize what the town is saying? Apparently, you five have finally understood. And my second line was, I'm trying to remember what the hell it was, but I thank you. I thank you. I love this town. I know some of you. I don't know all of you. And thank you for tonight. I'll remember it when I leave the building. And keep growing the chin.
Okay. Dear members of the Select Board and citizens of Plymouth, I am Mark Desloges, and I am representing the League of Women Voters of the Plymouth area. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. The League also thanks the Select Board for reconsidering your vote on allowing a non-binding question on the town ballot pertaining to the carrying of firearms into municipal buildings. As we previously wrote to you, we were concerned that placing this non-binding question on the ballot was not in the public interest. Your vote tonight greatly alleviates our concern. We believe that articles that are passed or rejected at town meeting should not be placed on a municipal ballot with only a Select Board vote. Such a practice would weaken the legislative authority of town meeting. We are happy that tonight's vote affirms this principle. Thank you.
Hi, Mark Pulsinelli, Precinct 1. I won't be long because I really appreciate the vote to reconsider. I think it was the right choice. I did just want to say one thing in reaction to some of the comments we just heard, that town meeting should not have pushed ahead with this vote. I just would like to remind anyone listening and watching that it was the Select Board who placed the article on the warrant. Without that action, town meeting would have had no authority to move forward with a vote, absent a citizen's petition, but that didn't happen. Thank you.
Good evening, Jenny Healy, Precinct 3. I have a couple of things I wanted to say. One was, again, as other people have said, thank you for voting to uphold the, to not move forward with this question. I think it shows much more respect for the town meeting and the people of Plymouth than it would have otherwise. I think that otherwise it would have been incredibly disrespectful both to the town meeting as well as voters who showed up en masse via emails, texts, conversations with their town meeting members so that they might be properly represented. So I appreciate the that process being taken out. As we know, democracy is messy and sometimes slow, but each branch has its job to do, and going forward with the vote would have given the appearance of undermining town meeting. I also had the question, which is sort of a rhetorical question at this point, is why did the Select Board have to be petitioned to advocate on behalf of on our behalf at the state level for the health and safety of our community? Seems like something that would be at the top of their lists of priorities. That's as regards the vote about Holtec. And maybe yes. There may be something I'm missing here, not understanding here. That's why I'm putting it as a question, which again may be rhetorical at this point. I also was wondering, in the agenda it says letters. Does that only mean like written letters that are mailed in? Does that include emails? So, but it's only snail mail? Or does it also include emails? Not emails, only snail mail. Letters are only snail mail. And that is for, and that's only for the Select Board. I understand other committees will read letters that are emailed, but Select Board doesn't. That's correct?
The reading of letters is also discretionary. So not, if you were to send us 50 pieces of mail, we wouldn't per se read all 50 pieces of mail.
Right, I know that we had a conversation this week, and I wouldn't have expected all of those to be read, but if I, for example, wrote one letter to the board and there weren't any responses. There may be one response, whether or not that letter would be. So this is only my third meeting now, and someone has always said, Mr. Quintal has always said, are there any letters? And the answer has always been no. So that's why I was trying to understand what that meant knowing I had communicated with the board. So now I understand that it's snail mail only.
Right, and then it would only be read if
One of the
or more
members
of the board
want
wanted
to read it.
that
That's
letter.
why I asked
Right.
that question.
Okay, so otherwise, I could get up a public comment and read it, for example.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And going back to the gun laws for a minute, I would hope that, again, I'm not a lawyer, and we've got some lawyers here who can maybe help me with this, is that I'm hoping that our leaders are leading by example and already not carrying guns into the town hall as it's been the law since October, I believe. And even though there was some pushback about whether or not we would continue to have opt-out of that or not, I would assume that the law is the law until otherwise overturned or opted out or whatever. So I would encourage town officials who may or may not have carried in the past to speak publicly about the fact that they're no longer doing that, or at least be forthright about letting town employees know that that's the case. And even knowing, like a simple sign on the door like they have at the library, saying there are no guns allowed in this building. And I know that there's going to be other things that we're going to need to tackle along the way, but that seems like a pretty simple way to get started, is leadership leading on that, and simple signs on the door. Seems like a pretty low-cost start to that. So thank you very much for your time.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Dunn from Precinct 4 and a town meeting member. And I was proud to be at the town meeting and participate in the civil discourse that we had there. I thank you for changing your minds regarding the regarding allowing guns in town hall. We have a federal administration that is ripping apart government departments without thought or process, the very bodies that were created to protect us, and trying to bully into submission the institutions that inform and educate us. This is a dangerous time in the United States of America. It's a time for people to speak truth to power. We need to be safe to do this in our town buildings without threat of legally allowed guns. And I'm so glad that you made this town, our town buildings and parks safe. The people have spoken, and there may be a statistic I learned in researching this this article is that the highest rate of death for children in America today, with children ages 1 to 19, is gun violence. That's unacceptable. So thanks for your vote. That makes me feel safer. Thank you.
Mr. Tavares?
So I think it's only right that when I was here before you, being boisterous, I should be here to also thank you for your reconsideration this evening and doing the right thing, and also for your hard work that went into town meeting this past Saturday. I know we had a couple of you up there presenting, and Mr. Quintal for your State of the Town address. But thank you, I appreciate it, and thank you, Mr. Bletzer. I know you appreciate the process, so that is all I have to say about that, so thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak under public comment? Did you? No? Okay. Select Board discussion? New business? Just one second, I'll let Derek go.
I'll go last regarding the
After that,
Chapter
that's what I was
61
gonna-
notice.
is that
Yeah,
all right?
thank you.
Go ahead, John.
So, Ms. Healy, public comment on the question that we just approved. You brought up an excellent point. So upon the closure of the power plant in May of 19, shortly thereafter, the state, I think maybe led by, I can't remember who the state senator was, but certainly State Representative Muratori was involved, and in their infinite wisdom, they created a 21-member nuclear decommissioning citizens advisory panel that was advisory at the time to Governor Baker. In the past, I have had the honor of chairing that committee, and that honor currently sits with Mr. Kevin Canty. Having said that, this question is going to the ballot, and I can tell you right now, I cannot come up with one example of any communication that has not occurred between the Plymouth Select Board, professional staff we have, and our state delegation, not only elected members of the state, but state appointees. Everything with respect to this topic, they know of. So you had implied that this question was basically faulty because we weren't doing our job. That I can tell you with 100% certainty, that is not the case.
Mr. Canty?
Well, I think the more specifically, at least from my perspective, that the question is, there are a lot of people in this and surrounding communities that are concerned about the disposition of the property and some of the radiological material there, and that this question is trying to demonstrate the level of public support in this community for the town doing everything that it can to address the concerns of those folks. Not everyone in the community is as concerned about it, but many people in the community are very concerned, and I think they're just looking to have their voices heard. So that is the purpose of the ballot question, in my opinion.
Anybody else? Letters? Old business, Mr. Bledsoe?
Yeah, it's kind of old and new business, but the full sale, if anybody's lucky enough to be on Facebook and see some of the pictures, or if you've been in the White Horse area, the remediation is finished down there, and they're going for permitting, I believe, Wednesday, applying for the permits. So we should be seeing that building will be torn down very shortly, and it's a project that, you know, we wanted to get it done. I know CPC for years tried to do it, and we were lucky enough to get it done this year. So I want to thank David Gould for the efforts, town manager for his efforts too, and we're going to have, at some point, there'll be a public meeting once the building's down. We're going to take it down so before the summer, then leave it be so it doesn't disrupt the residents down there that want to use the beach. And then in the fall, after the season, the construction work will be done. And there will be, David's assured me, there will be an open meeting that the public can have some input on the design, and the final design and what they're doing down there. So it's very exciting. It's something that we try to get done, and it is going to happen. And hopefully at some point, the Brits, we might see something with that. That's everybody's hope. But anyway, thank you.
Anything else under old business? At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the town manager. Derek?
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I just wanted to make an announcement regarding a notice of intent to sell the town has received on April 4th, 2025. And I bring this up this evening, one, because we just talked about an executive session, but there's been a lot of requests for information from residents who have heard rumors about a parcel of land that is up for sale. And so that is the notice of intent that we received this past Friday. This is a property at 450 Little Sandy Pond Road. It's approximately 177-acre parcel of land. It's currently being sold for residential development at a purchase price of $20 million. This is a Chapter 61 property, which any property, for those that aren't aware, under Chapter 61, any property that's under Chapter 61, the town has a 120-day first right of refusal. And so that's what the notice is putting us on. So effectively, on this past Friday, our 120-day period has begun to determine whether or not the town would like to exercise its right of first refusal. So I can say that under the guidance of the Select Board, the administration will be examining this notice and will research and to make a recommendation back to the board as to whether or not the board should exercise its right of first refusal. Again, that's 120 days. We believe that would expire sometime in mid-August. But I wanted to make that announcement only because there's been a lot of questions, and I would expect there's going to be a lot more questions moving forward. But again, we have 120 days before we have to make that decision.
Thank you. Thought you were asking for a minute. Any questions for Derek from anyone? No? Okay. I just want to say, now that Matt reminded me of it, it was a great town meeting. I have to say, it went a lot smoother than the last one, and that's okay. Sometimes things go smooth and sometimes they don't. And that's the power of the mix. But I thought it was a good town meeting, good debate, very respectful. And thank you all, and thank the moderator and all the town meeting members and everybody else that puts a lot of hours into that to get it to that day. That being said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Canty, second by Mr. Golden. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.